The recreation center on Station Kappa-7 smelled like sanitized metal and recycled air. Maya Chen wiped sweat from her forehead, adjusting her grip on the resistance bar. Around her, dozens of alien species worked through their exercise routines, their bodies moving with practiced efficiency. She had been stationed here for 3 months now. The only human among a crew of 200 aliens. The diplomatic mission seemed simple enough on paper. Represent Earth, build relationships, show them humanity was ready for the galactic community. Nobody mentioned she would spend half her time being stared at like a museum exhibit. Pathetic form, a voice rumbled behind her. Maya turned to find Instructor Vex looming over her workout station. The Krillian stood nearly 8 feet tall. His forearms crossed in what she had learned was his signature pose of disappointment. His exoskeleton gleamed under the fluorescent lights, each plate perfectly aligned like natural armor. "Excuse me?" Maya raised an eyebrow. Vex gestured dismissively at her setup. "Your stance is wrong. Your grip is weak. Your entire approach to physical conditioning is fundamentally flawed." He clicked his mandibles together, a sound that usually preceded his lectures. "This is why humans will never achieve true strength. You lack the proper biology, the proper discipline, the proper understanding of what real power requires." Several nearby aliens stopped their routines to watch. Maya recognized a few faces from the dining hall. They whispered to each other, their various appendages gesturing in her direction. "Great. An audience." "I have been training soldiers for 40 cycles," Vex continued, circling her like a predator examining wounded prey. "I have worked with Draknor warriors, Selenite champions, even the legendary Titan Guard. Never in all my years have I encountered a species so utterly unprepared for physical excellence as humans." Maya set down the resistance bar. Carefully. Too carefully. She felt heat rising in her chest, that familiar sensation she had learned to control during her military training back on Earth. "Is that right?" Her voice came out steady, almost bored. Vex leaned closer, his compound eyes reflecting her image in 100 tiny fragments. "Your bones are fragile. Your muscles are inefficient. You require constant hydration, constant nutrition, and constant rest. You are, biologically speaking, barely functional." A Selenite near the wall made a chittering sound that might have been laughter. Someone else joined in. "Look at her," Vex announced to the growing crowd. "This is what happens when evolution takes shortcuts. This is what happens when a species develops technology before developing proper physiology." Maya rolled her shoulders, feeling her joints pop satisfyingly. "You done?" "I am simply stating facts," Vex replied. "No human has ever completed my advanced training program. No human has ever matched the physical achievements of even our youngest recruits. You are welcome to try, of course, but I would hate to see you injure yourself attempting movements your body cannot possibly execute." The crowd had grown to about 20 now. They formed a loose semicircle around the confrontation, their attention completely focused on the small human and the towering instructor. "Tell you what," Maya said, her tone light and conversational. "How about a demonstration? You show me proper form, and I will show you what this barely functional biology can do." Vex's mandibles spread in what passed for a Krillian smile. "You wish to embarrass yourself publicly? Very well. I admire the courage, even if it is rooted in ignorance." He moved to the central training platform, his forearms gesturing for the crowd to step back. "We will begin with something simple. Basic endurance. Humans tire quickly, I'm told. Let us see how quickly." Maya followed him onto the platform, ignoring the whispers that followed her movement. She caught a few words. Foolish, reckless, entertaining. She smiled. "Standard endurance protocols," Vex announced. "We begin with sustained high-intensity movement for 1 standard hour, then we progress to strength demonstrations, then we finish with combat applications." He looked down at Maya. "Feel free to stop whenever your inferior physiology demands it." "I will keep that in mind," Maya replied sweetly. The first hour was brutal, not because of the exercise, which she had done variations of since basic training, but because Vex maintained a running commentary the entire time. Every movement she made, he critiqued. Every breath she took, he analyzed. Every drop of sweat that fell, he pointed out as evidence of human weakness. "See how she struggles," he called to the audience. "See how her respiratory system fails to provide adequate oxygen. This is the reality of human limitations." Maya said nothing. She just kept moving, one foot in front of the other, one rep after another. Her muscles burned, but she knew this feeling. She had been here before, in different gyms, on different worlds, with different people doubting what she could do. The second hour brought strength testing. Vex selected weights that he claimed were appropriate for beginners. The alien observers nodded approvingly as he explained proper lifting techniques, his forearms demonstrating multiple grips simultaneously. Humans lack the leverage advantage of multiple limbs, he lectured. They cannot distribute the load efficiently. Watch as she attempts this simple overhead press. Watch as she inevitably fails. Maya gripped the weight. It was heavy, no doubt about that. But she had lifted heavy things before. She thought about her first deployment, hauling equipment through desert heat. She thought about her survival training, carrying wounded teammates through obstacle courses designed to break you. She lifted the weight smoothly overhead. Then she held it there, and held it. Vex's lecture faltered slightly. "Yes, well, basic lifts are achievable for any species with proper muscle groups, but sustained holds require endurance that humans simply do not possess in their fast-twitch dominant musculature, and—" Maya switched hands, without lowering the weight. The crowd went quiet. "As I was saying," Vex continued, though his voice had lost some of its confidence, "true strength testing requires more than simple demonstrations. It requires pushing past what comfort allows, reaching into reserves that weak species cannot access because—" Maya lowered the weight slowly, then immediately selected one twice as heavy. "What are you doing?" Vex demanded. "Warming up," Maya replied. She completed another set, then another. Her form remained perfect, her breathing controlled. Each movement was deliberate, practiced, and efficient. Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. This proves nothing. Strength without technique is meaningless. Without proper combat application, you are simply moving objects from one location to another. "Combat application?" Maya repeated slowly. "You mean like fighting?" "I mean like combat," Vex corrected. "Real, tactical, survival-based physical confrontation, something humans abandoned when they developed their precious long-range weapons. You have forgotten how to truly fight." Maya set down the weight. She walked to the center of the platform, rolling her neck until it cracked satisfyingly. "Let me tell you something about humans, Instructor Vex, something you might find interesting." The crowd pressed closer, sensing something was about to change. "We are fragile," Maya continued. "You are right about that. Our bones break easily. Our skin tears. We need water and food and rest." Vex's posture straightened, his confidence returning. "Finally, she admits the obvious truth. But here is the thing about being fragile," Maya said, her voice dropping lower. "It teaches you to be creative. It teaches you to be efficient. It teaches you to end fights quickly, because you know you cannot afford to take hits." She began moving through her warm-up routine. Simple stretches, basic forms, nothing fancy. "On my world," she continued, "we have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We developed hundreds of combat systems, thousands of techniques. We learned to use leverage against size, speed against strength, intelligence against raw power." Vex clicked his mandibles dismissively. "Pretty words. I have heard many species make similar claims before their inevitable defeat." "Then let me make this simple," Maya said. She stopped moving and looked directly at him. "You and me, right now. Combat demonstration. Let us see if this barely functional biology can keep up with 40 cycles of training." The crowd erupted in excited chatter. Several aliens immediately began placing bets, their various limbs gesturing rapidly as they calculated odds. Vex was silent for a long moment. His compound eyes studied her carefully, reassessing. "You wish to fight me? In actual combat?" "I wish to demonstrate proper technique," Maya corrected with a smile. "You are an instructor, after all. Surely you can handle a simple teaching exercise with a fragile little human." The sarcasm hung in the air like a challenge flag. Vex's exoskeleton plates shifted slightly, a physiological response to threat assessment. "Very well," he said quietly, "but when you fail, when you lie broken on this platform, remember that you insisted on this demonstration." "I will remember," Maya promised. "Will you?" They moved to opposite sides of the platform. The crowd formed a wide circle, giving them space. Someone adjusted the lighting, making the training area brighter, more visible. Maya settled into her stance. Not the formal poses she had learned in military combatives, but something older. Something her grandmother had taught her when she was 7 years old, sitting on gymnasium mats that smelled like rubber and determination. Vex assumed his combat position, all four arms raised in defensive formations, his legs spread for maximum stability. They circled each other slowly. "Last chance to withdraw," Vex offered. "I would hate to damage Earth's only representative on this station." "How thoughtful," Maya replied, "but I am good, thanks." Then everything happened very, very fast. Vex moved. First, his size and reach, giving him confidence. 4 arms struck simultaneously, each one targeting a different angle, a technique designed to overwhelm opponents with options. Maya was not there. She had already slipped inside his guard, moving low and fast, her shoulder connected with his center mass just below where his exoskeleton plates met. The impact was calculated, precise, aimed at the soft tissue she knew existed beneath that armored exterior. Vex stumbled backward, surprise registering across his alien features. The crowd gasped. "Lucky shot," Vex growled, recovering quickly. He came at her again, this time more cautiously. His strikes were measured now, testing her defenses, looking for patterns. Maya gave him patterns. She blocked high, leaving her midsection exposed. She favored her right side, letting her left lag behind. She breathed heavily, as if already tiring. Vex took the bait. His lower right arm shot forward in a lightning-fast strike aimed at her ribs. She caught his arm, twisted her hips, and used his own momentum to send him sliding across the platform. The move was pure judo, refined over centuries of practice by people who understood that sometimes the best strength was knowing how to borrow someone else's. Vex rolled to his feet, clicking his mandibles in what might have been frustration. "You know evasion. Congratulations, but can you actually fight?" "Can you?" Maya shot back. They engaged again. This time, Maya went on the offensive. She moved like water, flowing around his defenses, striking nerve. Clusters she had memorized from the station's medical database. Each hit was surgical, designed not for power, but for effect. Vex's upper left arm went numb. He compensated with his other 3, but the loss of one limb disrupted his balance, his timing. "You studied Krillian anatomy," he accused, genuine respect creeping into his voice beneath the anger. "I study everything," Maya replied, ducking under a wild swing. "That is what fragile species do. We prepare, we learn, we adapt." She swept his legs. All 4 of them. The technique required perfect timing, perfect angle, and perfect execution. She had practiced it 1,000 times in her quarters, using furniture and imagination, knowing this moment would eventually come. Vex crashed into the platform hard. His exoskeleton clanged against the metal flooring, the sound echoing through the suddenly silent recreation center. Maya stepped back, giving him room to rise. "Had enough?" Vex got to his feet slowly. His posture had changed. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something else, something that looked almost like curiosity. "No," he said quietly. "Show me more." They fought for another 10 minutes. Real fighting this time. not a demonstration. Vex used every technique in his considerable arsenal. Grappling holds are designed for multiple limbs, strikes that could shatter stone, defensive patterns honed through decades of training. Maya countered all of it, not through superior strength or speed, but through understanding. She knew when to yield and when to resist. She knew when to go hard and when to go soft. She knew that fighting was not about proving who was stronger, it was about proving who was smarter. Finally, they broke apart, both breathing heavily. "Your cardiovascular system is inefficient," Vex noted, but his tone had completely changed. "Yet you have been fighting at high intensity for far longer than should be possible." "Adrenaline," Maya explained between breaths. "When humans face threats, our bodies dump chemicals into our bloodstream, increases pain tolerance, boosts energy, sharpens focus. It is called the fight or flight response. We have been refining it for millions of years." Vex tilted his head, his compound eyes, studying her with new appreciation. "You have biological combat enhancements built into your physiology." "Every human does," Maya confirmed. "We are literally designed for crisis situations. Our entire species evolved on a death world where everything wanted to eat us, kill us, or both. So we adapted. We became the thing that does not die easily." The crowd had pressed closer now, hanging on every word. Several aliens were taking notes on their various recording devices. "Death world?" a Selenite asked from the crowd. "Earth is classified as a death world." Maya looked at the speaker, then back at Vex. "You did not tell them." Vex's mandibles spread in what she now recognized as embarrassment. "I may have overlooked that detail in my assessments." "Overlooked," Maya repeated, letting sarcasm drip from the word. She turned to address the crowd directly. "Earth has more gravity than most inhabited worlds. Our atmosphere is corrosive to half the species in this station. We have extreme temperature variations, violent weather patterns, and predators that have been evolving alongside us for our entire existence. We did not develop technology because we were smart. We developed it because we had to. It was that or go extinct." Silence. Then, gradually, understanding rippled through the audience. "The human was testing you," someone whispered. "She knew all along." "She let you mock her," another added. "She let you build your case. Then she destroyed it." Maya walked back to Vex, extending her hand. "Good match, Instructor. You pushed me harder than most opponents. I appreciate that." Vex looked at her hand for a long moment. Then he reached down with one of his arms and clasped it gently, mindful of her fragile bones. "I have underestimated you, Maya Chen. I have underestimated your entire species. This was educational." "For both of us," Maya agreed. "You are an excellent fighter. Your techniques are solid, your form is nearly perfect. You just made one mistake." "What mistake?" "You assumed that different meant inferior," Maya said simply. "You saw someone who did not look like you, did not move like you, did not train like you, and you decided we were less than. That is not a fighting mistake, Instructor. That is a thinking mistake." Vex was quiet for several heartbeats. His exoskeleton plates shifted, clicking softly. "You're correct. I allowed prejudice to cloud my judgment. I believed strength could only look one way, exist in one form. I was wrong." "We all make assumptions," Maya said, releasing his hand. "The question is what we do after we realize our assumptions were garbage." A ripple of laughter moved through the crowd. Some species laughed with sound, others with movement. A few released pheromones that smelled like mint and satisfaction. Vex straightened to his full height, all forearms extended in a formal Krillian gesture of respect. "I would like to request something, Maya Chen." "What is that?" "Teach me," Vex said, and the words clearly cost him something. Pride, perhaps. Ego. Definitely. "Teach me your human combat systems. Teach me how to think like someone from a death world. I have spent 40 cycles believing I understood strength. You have shown me I understood only a fraction of what strength can be." Maya considered this. Around her, the crowd watched expectantly. She thought about her mission parameters. build relationships, represent humanity, show them what humans could offer. On one condition, she finally said. Name it. You teach me too, Maya said. Your techniques, your knowledge, your 40 cycles of experience. We exchange information. We learn from each other. Deal? Vex's mandibles spread in a genuine smile. This time. Deal. They shook hands again, and this time the crowd erupted in approval. Cheers echoed through the recreation center in a dozen different languages and frequencies. Over the next weeks, Maya and Vex became a fixture in the training center. They would work together for hours, demonstrating techniques, exchanging knowledge, pushing each other to new levels of understanding. The other aliens started joining them. First one or two, then dozens, then eventually almost everyone on the station. They wanted to learn the human methods. They wanted to understand how someone so apparently fragile could be so devastatingly effective. Maya taught them about leverage and momentum, about using an opponent's strength against them, about fighting smart instead of fighting hard, about the mental game, the psychological warfare that humans had perfected over thousands of years of conflict. In return, they taught her their techniques. The Draknor showed her their berserker meditation. The Selenites demonstrated their harmonic combat forms. Even the shy Vespids shared their swarm tactics. The recreation center became less of a gym and more of a cultural exchange. Combat was the language they all spoke, but through it they learned so much more. They learned about each other's worlds, each other's histories, each other's struggles and triumphs. 3 months after the confrontation, Station Commander Zalith called Maya to her office. I have reviewed reports from the recreation center, the commander said, her 3 eyes blinking in sequence. They are remarkable. Crew cohesion has improved by 40%, cross-species cooperation has increased significantly, incidents of prejudice-based conflicts have dropped to nearly 0. That is good to hear, Maya replied carefully. It is more than good, Zalith continued. It is unprecedented. In 20 years of commanding this station, I have never seen such rapid social integration. The humans were right to send you here, Maya Chen. I was just teaching some workout routines, Maya said modestly. Zalith's laugh sounded like wind chimes. You were teaching humility. You were teaching respect. You were teaching that strength comes in forms we might not recognize at first glance. These are lessons my crew desperately needed. She pulled up a holographic display. I'm forwarding my report to the Galactic Council. I'm recommending that human integration proceed immediately with full membership status. Your species has much to teach us. Maya felt something tight in her chest loosen. Thank you, Commander. Thank you, Maya, Zalith replied. You did something very difficult. You proved yourself without proving others wrong. That takes wisdom. Later that evening, Maya found Vex in the training center. He was working with a group of young recruits, his forearms moving in graceful arcs as he demonstrated a combination of human and Krillian techniques. Commander Zalith spoke with you, he asked, without turning around. How did you know? I submitted the request that prompted her review, Vex admitted. I told her that humanity deserves full integration status. I told her that any species capable of producing warriors like you deserves our highest respect. Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. You did not have to do that. Yes, I did, Vex said simply. He dismissed the recruits and turned to face her fully. I spent 40 cycles being the best fighter I could be. But I never learned to be a good teacher until you showed me how. You taught me that instruction is not about proving superiority. It is about fostering growth. You were always a good teacher, Maya said. You just needed to remember why you started teaching in the first place. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching through the windows as stars drifted past the station. Somewhere out there was Earth, with its crushing gravity and corrosive atmosphere and deadly predators. Somewhere out there was the rest of humanity, waiting to join the galactic community. What will you do now? Vex asked. Now that your mission is complete, Maya smiled. Keep training. Keep teaching. Keep showing people that strength looks different for everyone. There are a lot of gyms in this galaxy, Instructor. A lot of people who need to learn that different is not the same as weak. Then I will join you, Vex declared. if you will have me as a training partner." "I would be honored," Maya said. Then she punched his shoulder lightly. "But you are buying the protein supplements. That stuff is expensive for humans on alien stations." Vex's mandibles clicked in laughter. "Deal." They returned to the training platform together, teacher and student, alien and human, both stronger for having learned from each other. Around them, the recreation center hummed with activity, dozens of species, working together, training together, learning together, all because one small human refused to accept that fragile meant weak, all because one proud instructor learned that admitting mistakes was the first step toward growth. The stars continued their dance beyond the windows. The universe continued its expansion, and in one small training center, on one small station, an old truth was being rediscovered. Strength is not about who can hit hardest. It is about who can keep getting up, keep learning, keep adapting. It is about turning your weaknesses into advantages and your disadvantages into opportunities. It is about being human, or being willing to learn from one. Maya picked up her resistance bar, adjusted her grip, and smiled. Time to get back to work. Subscribe to my channel for more sci-fi stories and visit my channel for the full story.